Hello loves, let's learn how to make a lapel jacket. So let's get started. So from the upper part, I drew a line and I came down by 8 inches. So from this upper part to that line is 8 inches. This other part is 4 inches where we're going to place our lapel. So I'm going to take my bust point measurement, 10 inches, my waist measurement, 16 inches, my hip measurement, 24 inches, the hemline, 27 inches, and I added 2 inches allowance to it, and I'm going to connect them with a straight line. Now I'm going to impute my shoulder measurement, divide by 2. I came down by 1 inch for our shoulder slope, and the neckline is 3 inches by 3 inches. So this is just the basic part we are drafting now. Now after connecting my neckline and my shoulder slope, I came down by 8 inches for my armhole depth, and I'm going to make sure my shoulder measurement is correct, and I'm going to connect it. Now I'm going to impute my bust measurement, divide by 4, and on the armhole line I measured what I have there into 2, that's 4 inches, and I'll come out by half of an inch to get the armhole curve. So I'm going to connect the armhole curve to the bust point, the bust measurement we took. So after I've done that, the bust point line, I'm going to mark 4 inches. That's my nipple to nipple measurement, divide by 2. So I'll mark 4 inches on the bust point line, the waist line, and also the hip line. So just take your bust point measurement and connect it with a straight line as shown. So on the waistline, I came out by half an inch on both sides, as you can see. And on the bust point line, I came down by 1 inch. Then I'm going to connect my darts. So this is just the basic bodice part we are drafting, and we're going to go further to the lapel. So here I'm connecting my dart to the waistline, and from that waistline, I'm going to connect it to the hip line. Now after connecting my dart, on the bust point line, I'm going to divide my bust measurement by 4, and I'll add 1.5 inch for seam allowance. On the waistline, I'll do the same thing, divide my waist measurement by 4, and I'll add seam allowance 1.5 inch. Then I'll replace my dart 1 inch. So whatever measurement you're taking should start from that line after the 4 inches we left at the front. So the hip line, I'm going to divide my hip measurement by 4, add 1.5 inch to it. Then on the hemline, whatever I had on my hip line is what I'm going to impute on the hemline. So I add 11 inches, that's my hip measurement divided by 4, and I added 1.5 inch to it. So I just connected all the lines together. Now for the lapel part, I'm going to the center front by 1 inch as shown. So you're just going to mark 1 inch to the bottom part of this jacket, and I'll connect it with a straight line. Now on the waistline, I'm going to slant my ruler and connect it to the neckline. This is where I want the lapel to stop. So I want it to stop at the waistline. So I'm going to connect it from that waistline to the neckline as shown. So this is what it looks like. On that neckline, the center front, I'm going to come out by 1.5 inch. That is how wide I want my lapel to be. So you can do 2 inches if you want it to be very wide. So I'm going to connect it to the waistline, that 1.5 inch I came out by. I'll connect it to the waistline as shown. Now this is what it looks like. I'm going to make the line visible so you can see what it looks like. Now on this line we came out by, this 8 inches, I'm going to slant my tape as shown, and I'm going to take the round neck measurement of my back. So when I measured my round neck after drafting it, I had 3.5 inches. So on that 3.5 inch we came up by, I'm going to come to the side and take half an inch. I will connect it to the neckline. So from that line, the new line, I'm going to slant my ruler and take the width of my collar. I'm doing 3.5 inches. So if you want to do 4 inches, you can do 4 inches. So for that point I mentioned earlier, you can take your, when I took my back measurement for the back pattern, I did 3 inches by 2 inches. That was how I got 3.5 inches. So after we've made that slant, we're going to come up from that neck part by half an inch where our notched collar is going to be, because there's a little opening after the collar before our lapel. So I'm going to connect from this neck part to where the notched effect is going to start from. So I'm just going to connect it as shown. So this is the effect, the notch effect. I'm going to use my French curve to connect the collar, because we are cutting the collar inclusive. We are drafting everything together. So this upper part is the collar. So the collar part is not straight. It's going to have a curve as shown. So yours should not be straight. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to use a marker to highlight all the parts we've marked. I just use a biro so that when we have a mistake we can correct it. So I'm just highlighting it so you see everything that we've drafted. If you have any question, you can leave it in the comment section. I'll be there to attend to them. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to cut it. So we'll cut from the down part. Don't forget to add allowance after you've added your measurement. Add allowance, stitching allowance. I added 2 inches stitching allowance to the bottom. So for the dart, I want it to get to the top. So I'm going to divide what I have on my shoulder into 2 as shown. I will mark it, then I'll connect it to that dart we drafted earlier, because I want the front part to be 2 pieces. If you don't want this is optional, you can just keep this part. But I want the center front to be 2 pieces. So now I'm going to cut out the pattern. So that part is the collar, and this is our bodies. Now for the dart also, I'm still going to connect it to the bottom. So this is it. We'll cut out our dart and we have our lapel pattern. So here, now let's go to the back pattern. Let's draft it. So the back pattern is just very simple, is just repeating what we did at the front. Take your take your shoulder measurement, divide by 2. So the width of the neck is 3 inches by 2 inches. That was how I got 3.5 that I added to that collar part we were drafting at the front. So when you make this curve, like I did, just take your tape rule and measure it round. What you have is what we're going to input at that part that I added 3.5 to mine. So this is just the basic pattern part. I added my bust point measurement, my waist measurement, my hip measurement, and the length of my jacket, and also 2 inches for seam allowance. So this is the dart. You're going to take your nipple to nipple measurement, divide by 4, and half an inch on the waistline on both sides. That is how I got my dart, the same way we did it for the front. So you're going to impute your bust measurement, divide by 4, add your allowance to it, the waist measurement, divide by 4. Don't forget to put your dart allowance before adding your seam allowance to it. Then what you get for the waist, what you get for your hip line is what you're going to impute at the hemline, the bottom part of the jacket. So I just connected all the lines together, and I'm going to highlight the armhole curve. So this is very simple to draft. If you know how to draft your basic bodice pattern, then you can do this effortlessly. So because I want the back piece to also be 2 at the center, the middle part, I'm going to divide what I have on my shoulder by 2, and I'll connect it to the upper part of the jacket, the same thing we did for the front. So we're going to cut this part, and we're going to have 2 center pieces. For the waistline at the center back, I came in by half an inch. So on that waistline, come in by half an inch and connect it to the bust point line. This is to help the back relax properly, because we're not going to be adding any zipper to this. So there's no zipper to this. So just remove that bulge and we'll cut this out. So this will help the back to relax. You see, it's no longer straight. So this is the drafting of this lapel jacket. I'm going to post a video on how to sew this jacket. Now, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back to another video. If you like what I did with this video, please give it a thumbs up, and also leave your comments in the comment section. Please do not forget to comment, and also share with your friends who are interested in sewing, and we're going to be learning so much from this channel, so you might want to stick around, subscribe, and join the family. So when cutting, be careful so you do not alter with your original measurement. And so this is the back piece. You see, we have 2 pieces because of the dart we drew at the center. So I'm labeling my pattern: the center back, the side back, the center front, and also the side front. And I'm going to use an arrow to connect it so I don't make any mistake. It is very necessary to label your pattern so you know which goes to which. Now the upper one here is our collar, and I'm going to show you how to sew this collar to your jacket and how to line in your jacket and get a neat finishing. So this will be all for the drafting on the part of the pattern. I will be seeing you in my next video on how to sew this jacket. Until then, do have a nice day. Bye.